Kama ulipata usingizi wewe ni mnoma. Jana usiku it was fireworks. Now we are here to tell you once again. Hapa ndo utapata replay yote. This is the Morning Cafe, karibu sana tarehe 8 mwezi wa 10 mwaka ni wa 2024. Jina langu ni Fred Ndimuli. Hapa ndipo Morning Cafe.
And I'm used to Stanley Ringita Fred for about 2 hours, about 2 hours 30 minutes plus. The Deputy President yesterday was able to speak his truth, laying it out bare and bringing out his late brothers to this whole story. It's a whole dynamics because now for today, again, he's going to be in front of members of parliament for 2 hours from 5 p.m. all the way to 7 p.m. Possibly again speaking his truth, but then this time he might just be interrupted, though he was saying interrupt.
Yes, and you see, wanasema Gen Z attention span is very short. Even movies you watch 1 hour long movies, you like very short content. Yesterday it was 2 hours plus, and guys were glued to the screens across the country. The whole nation was watching as the Deputy President laid out his evidence and saying, "This is my truth." All right. Today on the State of the Nation, of course, it is a big day. Parliament adjourned. Today they'll only be talking. They adjourned from normal order. So today they'll only be handling the impeachment. So debate starts in the morning, being Tuesday. Usually they don't have a special sitting on Tuesdays in the morning, but today they'll have it. Then all the way till evening, they give the Deputy President 2 hours between 5 and 7. Then they go for voting after that. So how will it be? 291 members of the National Assembly supported the motion. Will the numbers still stay that high?
He needs about 233 members to send him to the Senate. If he gets 171, they're about
117.
117, yes. 117 members to kick out that particular motion. He might just survive. We'll be taking a look at how these numbers will be playing out. This gentleman might just be the ones to save his future.
James Gachagua is one of those who will be voting in Parliament alongside Daniel Manduku, but it would appear Daniel Manduku ameingiza baridi kidogo, so he won't be making it for our conversation this morning. Tunaelewa. Najua chama, party position, nini, wacha tuwachie
hizo story zote.
James Gachagua will be here though. David Ole Sankok may be joining us via video link. John Mutambu, former MP Mwingi Central, will be joining us as well for this conversation. It is one of those conversations that you cannot miss today. Plus,
now these legislators will be also taking a look at political analysts, governance analysts, as well as from the legal minds, Wanja Maina, Kimani Mwangi, Banis Njeri, as well as Kathy Irungu, to understand how this future, whether he's impeached, whether he is not impeached, the kind of alliance with the president as well as other cabinet members. Yesterday we did see Eden Duale being now the second cabinet member to come out and give his voice.
Yes, there's a lot of opinion. Yes, there's a lot of opinion on social media. But mbona mna react sana? Simungoje tu kama siku ishafika. You do realize that we do not have the newspapers here because I know jana they had to wait until the Deputy President finishes his speech so that they decide to work on the story then before going on to press. So most of them went to press at around 11 midnight, so the physical papers will delay. Na si hapa tu, hata huko kwingine kwenye mko Garissa, maeneo ya Mombasa, gazeti zitachelewa kidogo tu lakini zinakuja. But we do have the e-paper, so we can take a look at the big dailies. Ini mrefu.
Ruto big gamble plans new DP from Mount Kenya. They go with a different angle.
This one was ready. This one, I think this is among the very first papers that were ready yesterday. I saw this front page mapema jana. We even had it immediately after the news press conference by the Deputy President. We had it on our news. So the Star front page was there at our 10 p.m. news. Let's call it 10 p.m.
Already. But then the fact that they went with a different angle for this one, they were just waiting for what he'll say and add it there, but then they go with a different twist on that. On Taifa Leo, kwenye gazeti hili,
katika kinywa cha mamba, habari kuu pale kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa Taifa Leo, tarejelea kuangalia mengi zaidi, masuala ya biashara.
Sema Kenya linked US farm bosses caught in 12 billion cash shillings carbon fraud.
Matters business. Yes. On the Daily Nation, this is my defense. They waited until after the Deputy President had spoken and managed to get this story on the front page of the Daily Nation. This is really impressive. Yes. Not many people are able to do this. The turnaround time for newspapers sometimes. So this one must have left the front page wakasema, wacheke blank tungoje the truthful man. And they managed to do it. That's the Daily Nation.
After the papers are kuongezea. People Daily was also ready.
Yes.
Quite early. They say Deputy President displays a vast wealth. They go the angle of his wealth and what he was outlining. After every single minute, anasema, this is worth this, this is worth this. Well,
right. The other big story, I think, is the change in leadership of the Council of Governors, and we'll be back to take a look at the new chair of the Council of Governors, away from Anne Waiguru, whose tenure came to an end yesterday.
And I think in a normal kind of a day in politics, this could have been on the front.
It should have been the biggest story.
It should be the biggest story, but then it might have been watered down.
This is a special week in politics. Very interesting. Bado itawaka zaidi.
Yes. Gachagua gamble. Two words basically describing what, and they actually also went with the kind of quotes there. And I think this was one of the quotes that everyone was waiting for. A question he was asked by one of the journalists, and he answered as to the issue of whether this motion cannot find itself to the assembly, whether the president's nod. That is true, it can't. It has his nod.
It definitely does. We cross over to Tanzania, and kuna zile gazeti tumezoea za Tanzania ni kama walifanyiwa ile kitu. The Communications Authority of Tanzania waliwafinyia leseni kwa kukiuka maadili. Sasa we had to switch to daily news. New dawn for Tanzania horticulture, matters agriculture, making it to the front page of this paper. It is one of the busiest papers.
Yes.
You thought Mwananchi is busy. This one is even busier. CCM hails government for pace in execution of key projects. Digitization drive gathers momentum. It's not a very interesting front page, to be honest.
Kwenye gazeti la Habari Leo watangaza kuwa mwongozo ujenzi wa nyumba vijijini waja. Masuala ya kujenga nyumba kule Tanzania. Sema serikali ya rasimisha makazi milioni 2.6. Is it the fact that Tanzania just has a lot to say?
I think maybe they don't buy the newspapers to open inside. So our regions are ranked on life expectancy and poverty rate. So wale wenye wana do, they're actually living longer. That's an interesting angle to it. I thought the better quality of, the more money you have, the better quality of life.
Then they're showing it in
Kenya, Kiambu, they say is actually the richest county. So if this was true in Kenya, Kiambu life expectancy would have been lower.
Wow. In the front page of the New Vision, this is still in Uganda, guys. They say, in Katanga, sister reveals deceased's last words. It has been an ongoing case. The court told Tycoon abandoned car as well as the phone. Other interesting conversations in Uganda.
There's this Kazimba Cup which has kicked off. This is the Church of Uganda Archbishop Dr. Samuel Stephen Kazimba Mugalu is impressing students here and guests with the football juggling skills. He was launching the Kazimba Cup at Muza High School in Kabembe.
All those.
So yes, those are the stories in the regional papers. We'll be back to take a look at our local dailies, but for now let's take a look at the weather situation. And I can tell you for sure mahali kutakuwa na joto sana hapa ni Karatina, where Mathira constituency is located deep inside Nyeri County.
Yes, it's going to be a gloomy day, but the political temperatures are going to compensate that.
So 14 degrees as we speak.
Yes.
The highest will be 23 degrees. Chances of rain?
3.8 millimeters. That's some light showers in that area. Let's see somewhere else that you're going to be expecting. In the West region, they were implicating jana kwa hiyo Kenya Kwanza agreement, saying maneno ya 30%. So pia hapo, that might also ongeza temperatures.
I saw a tweet by one of those governors akisema pauko na pakawa walipewa had been promised, they negotiated for 30%, then they were given 2% wakashiba.
Okay. Someone said that, not us.
No, we just said pakua na pakawa. Pauko na pakawa.
Up to midday, expect temperatures as high as 26. So then after that, some light showers if you're in Kakamega and its environs. Tuangalie Nakuru and Rift Valley, 14 chances of raining. Leo, seemingly in most parts of the country, 6.9 millimeters. That's about 7 there about Leo. Nakuru, tafuta umbrella. You really, really need it. In Mombasa, to the coast region, as high as 27 right now. Do expect some light showers as of 2.8 millimeters, yes, up to midday there. And then after that, as high as 28. And then finally, in Nairobi, where the political temperatures is definitely going to be very, very high, while this is going to be not the case, particularly into the midday, where you're going to be seeing some light showers, so buckle up for that. It might just be raining. If in case wewe ni wale wa kutembea town sana, tafuta umbrella because you're going to be needing it. And then afterwards,
when the deputy president makes it to parliament at 5 p.m, itakuwa hapo ndio imeshika proper jua imewaka. Perhaps signifying the kind of political heat we expect. Mvua hapa kuna
0 point, but then in ile cloudy, chances of very, very light showers. That is how the weather is looking like. And because you are alluding to the deputy president making it to the National Assembly from today at 5 p.m, but then before that, we're going to also see more witnesses also coming to the National Assembly. This process continues from today, tomorrow. We're going to be following up on that, so stick around on that as well. And then into matters health, the Minister of Health today is going to be officially launching the training workshop for human resource directors from ministries, departments, and discipline forces. Why is this conversation important today? Because it focuses on the Social Health Authority benefits package as well as employer portal. So basically those in the government and the whole rollout for the SHA program as well. Something else interesting for today, it is the whole celebrations of the International Day of the Girl Child, and the Anti-Female Genital Mutilation Board will be meeting today. So again, stick around for that. They might just be giving us some latest data as well, having a whole map out of how different regions are looking like. And as of 2024, are we still grappling with FGM? These conversations and more right here on TV 47. Today in History?
Yes, for now, Today in History.
Today in History, 8th October 1963. On October 8th, 1963, Kenya adopted its first constitution, which established the framework for the country's governance following its independence on December 12, 1963. This document was crucial in transitioning from colonial rule to self-governance.
All right, let's now get down to the local dailies. Maybe D-Day for Rigathi Gachagua before the National Assembly as Mwingi Mutuse, the MP for Kibwezi West, tables a motion of impeachment and actually prosecutes the case today, giving the Deputy President an opportunity later in the evening to defend himself before the National Assembly gets down to voting. By midnight, they'll have decided. But even before that, the Star's already gone ahead and decided that the impeachment is a done deal. We're already moving to the successor.
Yes.
So Ruto big gamble, plans new DP from Mount Kenya. President will be trading a delicate balance as he picks Rigathi's successor, and they have faces of the proposed or possible successors, all of them from the mountain. The Interior CS Kithure Kindiki, Governor Anne Waiguru, whose term as COG chair came to an end yesterday.
Yes.
The current chair of the Budget Committee, Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro, and Governor Irungu Kang'ata.
Two governors, one CS, one member of parliament.
You could do elimination. This is a first-time governor. Will he dump his gubernatorial seat to become deputy president? Well, she still has 3 years to go.
Yeah, the fact that she's just exited one lucrative title,
second-term governor,
she might just be, eyeing for another lucrative title.
By the way, 3 years to go as governor of Kirinyaga, or 3 years as deputy president with a possible extension. Well, Interior CS, natural fit. Kiharo MP, yes, he had been mentioned also. So yes, key political figures from Mount Kenya East and West engaged in strategic maneuvers. But does it mean that it's only the mountain region that is eyeing this seat? A lot of things could actually change. Plus, some are even suggesting that probably we should change the constitution and have more than one deputy.
Yeah, so just in case you have one problem with this one, you still have...
wale watu wa 30% wapewe pauko na pakao wapewe ingine probably, but interesting times. Today is also Tuesday, so this is when we have the MyGov pull-out inside the Star. And
the
it
free
is a
copy.
free copy, yes. So tafuta hii gazeti, ufurahie. Working in darkness puts you in the light.
They're focusing on Crystal Esike. She's a ODM-nominated senator. I love the fact that this paper highlights her, and the fact that unlike other leaders, even as today we're going to be seeing from Wabunge, unlike other leaders who really champion for themselves and saying, mimi nataka hizi, this number of seats and all that, she focuses on people with disability and people with special needs as a member of parliament.
Okay. Other quick highlights on the front page of this daily. No respite for MDAs as Treasury orders cuts. And quitting medicine takes doctor closer to patients. These are just some of the stories inside today's edition of The Star. Grab yourself a copy of this people, because smart people read The Star.
Oh yes. Kwenye gazeti la Taifa Leo, katika kinywa cha mamba, na picha ambayo ameamua kutumia pale ni yake naibu rais Rigathi Gachagua akiwa pale ameduaza. Amefikiria sana, leo itakuwaje? Leo nikisimama mbele ya hawa bunge 291, je, watanisikiliza?
Na wamepeana idadi ya wabunge wanaoweza kumnusuru Gachagua ni 117. Jumla ya wabunge katika bunge la kitaifa ni 349. Idadi inayohitajika ili kumng'oa Rigathi 233, na wabunge walioitia saini hoja ya kumng'atua Gachagua enzini ni 291. Je, idadi hii itakuwa hivyo pia leo? Tutangoja. Kama jana tutaiwatch kama movie.
Na popcorns hapo pole pole.
Sema Gachagua na kibarua bungeni leo atakapojitetea dhidi ya kung'atuliwa madarakani.
Jina na ile phrase ya kufa dereva na kufa makanga imetumika na gazeti la Taifa Leo. Pale juu kufa dereva na makanga, sema Karua
Kinara na Kenya.
Sema watu wawili watimuliwe kwa kushindwa kazi. Taarifa ya yule ambaye sasa ni kiongozi wa baraza la mawaziri sasa.
Baraza la magavana.
Baraza la magavana.
Gavana wa Wajir, Arithi wa Iguru, Ahmed Abdullahi. Sasa tabidi tuzoe. COG chair, Ahmed Abdullahi.
Mbuka jana alikuwa tunadhani ni ule wa ni Samburu? No, Kajiado. Olelenku.
Alikuwa pale kwenye karakacha ya gazeti moja, nafikiri ilikuwa The Standard, hakupata. Lakini gavana wa Nyeri, Mutahi Kahiga, ndio naibu wa mwenyekiti wa baraza la magavana. So congratulations to Governors Ahmed Abdullahi and Mutahi Kahiga for getting those positions as chair and deputy of the COG respectively. Vidokezo zaidi hapa: uboreshaji wa kisima kitakatifu na madhabahu ya Subukia kuchangisha milioni 25 za kukarabati kisima cha maji matakatifu. Na kwingineko, Linturi sasa kuwania gavana mwaka 2027. Huyu alikuwa waziri wa kilimo, Bwana Linturi sasa anasema anataka kuwa gavana. Na mambo ya gavana wa Meru iliendaje?
Bado tunangojea High Court.
Kwenye biashara,
sema Kenya linked US farm bosses caught in 12 billion cash shillings carbon fraud. In context, they say the duo allegedly manipulated Cook Stoves project data. The carbon credit sold to unsuspecting buyers in the global market.
Wa Kenya, by the way, amchelewi. Carbon credit mshaanza hii bara. It is still a very new concept.
Alafu watu walisha figure it out, and then they saw this is a cash cow,
But then
big
again,
one.
yes, the people who get onto this bandwagon initially get to probably take advantage of the lack of knowledge from so many other people, and maybe we might just get to see a lot of this kind of fraud. Before people get used to carbon credit trading, ikuwe ni maswala ya kawaida, ni kama Bitcoin tu. Kabla watu wazoe, ilikuwa shida.
Bagarom, sijui kama unaelewa maneno ya carbon fraud, but then watu washaanza. Something else that, well, others are really taking profit on. The Kenya jet fuel re-exports to the United Arab Emirates hit 27 billion Kenyan shillings. On the ticker, some interesting. Naona EABL iko pale.
Umeona tu EABL. Ngoja tufike maswala ya sherehe kwanza. Treasury repays 63 billion central bank emergency overdrafts, and you see the central bank has been lending Treasury some overdrafts. Juzi nilisikia kuna zile zinaendanga mahali fulani alafu azirudi, lakini wamelipa.
Okay.
Wamelipa, yeah. Stanchart KCB top in parastatals exposure. UK-linked consortium set to revive Kerio floor spa project. And finally, hiyo yenye Ringita anataka, EABL's executives awarded 125 million shillings Diageo shares. Maswala ya biashara.
You know, when you see some of this, it's the month of Enyinisha Aba, October, November, December. And you see that you always have to be very keen.
It's only 78 days to Christmas, by the way.
Yes.
78 days to Christmas, we're continuing with our countdown to the big day. This is my defense is a big headline on the front page of the Daily Nation. They say embattled DP requires 117 MPs to block motion, while 233 votes will be required to send him to Senate for trial. 233 inaweza kuwa ilikaa rahisi sana siku ile waliweka sahihi.
Ile 291.
Acha tuone leo. Haitakuwa rahisi. So Gachagua looks to brother's will to poke holes into bid to kick him out. Yesterday he did that quite eloquently. They also continue with that serialization of this cast of the deputies. Troubles of former VP Josephat Karanja, the man in a hurry. Now Josephat Karanja is at vice president under President Daniel Moi, who was eventually forced out through a censure motion in Parliament. Back then we didn't have issues like impeachment because the constitution was different. So yes, you could draw parallels with what was happening to Josephat Karanja. He eventually passed on.
Together with now Rigathi Gachagua under the new constitution.
So the deputy president last night laid out his case before Kenyans, poking holes in the charges that have been brought against him in the impeachment motion that is currently before the National Assembly. The DP will hope that the latest move will help sway MPs who are today expected to vote on the ouster bid to his side in the fight for his political career. SHIF mess state moves to ease wars, matters health still making it to the front page. This is interesting because in all this discussion tunasahau some of the big stories. Now, this one is actually big.
Something else that iko hapa hivi chini, and the fact that has been highlighted, one CS who's really out to support the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua, they said revealed the overseas jobs firms that Cabinet Secretary Alfred Mutua, who's the Cabinet Secretary of Labour, left out of his list of shame. Questions have emerged of a list of blacklisted recruitment agencies that Labour CS Mutua presented in Parliament last week, as it did not feature some rogue agencies currently facing criminal investigations. Now, this particular bit is very important now that Kenyans stranded in Lebanon are trying to get back home. Right. And the whole push and pull of even the agencies who took them there is also coming out. Yes.
Troubled life of former under 2800 meters champion also features there on the Daily Nation today. That story is on pages 34, 35, sports pages. And yes, probably if you get the physical paper, you can understand more.
Yes. The vast wealth imeangaziwa sana na People Daily. About Deputy President displays vast wealth. How besieged Gachagua links multi-billion empire to his late brother and business acumen ahead of today's date with destiny. So someone enumerating how for the brother, for apartments, the brother, for something else, the wife, for something else, the children. And people asking, so what exactly is yours? Yes. These are conversations that were happening on social media, and they're still happening on social media. Other bits here, queries over DPP about Tan on Tana Athi Chief's case. And something else that might be missing because of the whole Rigathi speech yesterday. Abdullahi takes the COG helm as Waiguru leaves. But ile story walikuwa nayo top jana ya AFCON billions wameirudia pale juu na wanaendelea kuiangazia how Homeboys defined Ruto order on AFCON billions. So they're saying it's a community sports affair.
Yes. So zile majina ziko hapa ni Pius Meto, Peter Tum, Chris Kipto, Belio Kipsang, Jack Tunoi, Henry Kimutai. And honestly, it's a community affair. And the face of the former CS for Sports, Ababu Namwamba, making it back to the front pages. Finally, the Standard, Gachagua gamble. The deputy president came out fighting yesterday, bare-knuckled against the accusations in his impeachment, calling them outrageous and ridiculous. He says he will focus on the courts to execute his case, but if the vote and judges fail to save him, he faces retirement from public service. So yes, this is just the reality of what the deputy president faces as his impeachment starts proper today. And this story extensively covered on pages 6, 7, and 8 on the Standard.
And finally, you have the physical papers. Can dive into others here and take a look at other interesting headlines on this paper. Lakini pale chini,
anxiety as teacher jobs deadline comes to an end. Wow. Pale juu, yes, they've covered that story about governors voting for new team as Waiguru leaves. A year after Hamas attack, war rages on. Yesterday was October 7.
Yes.
Mbadi blames low tax on out-of-date system. And finally, doping ban ended Bet's budding career. It's the same story we saw on the Daily Nation. And it's what features on the back page of the Standard as well. Kipyegon Bet, budding talent that was cut short after doping ban in 2018. Wow, he was only 26-year-old. He died on Sunday after a struggle with alcoholism. He was touted as the next David Rudisha. Bet had declined to return to athletics after depression following an anti-doping rule violation. Such a sad story to a very promising young athlete.
Yes.
Well, those are the dailies today. Tuangazie maswala ya karakacha as we come to the end of this newspaper review. Na tunaanza leo, nimeona leo kuna... Okay, this is the Daily Nation.
The truthful truth is, and these are the words of this gentleman here, who is wearing the crown of the Murima crown. And you can tell who he is around him, that number of traps placed strategically in different places.
So this must have been drawn yesterday evening, because he was where he was speaking from, where addressing the media, was very much like this. It had a window right behind it.
Yeah.
But through the window now you're seeing a pickup. He said his property, if he has to move out of the official residence of the deputy president, it would not need more than a pickup. Yeah. So yes, there's a pickup there, and they're already loading stuff onto it as he addresses and defends himself. Meanwhile, there are traps all over. This is a Daily Nation cartoon today.
Yes.
On the People Daily.
Where?
Hii mashine inaitwaje? Wewe ndio umetoka shule juzi.
Is it a wrench?
Ama anvil.
Nimesahau watu wanafanya agriculture.
Imefinya mtu, that's impeachment motion. Jamaa amefinywa kabisa.
Where?
Ati pipe wrench.
Yes, I knew.
Mwalimu mmoja wa high school, kuna mwalimu mmoja wa shule hapa ametuambia ni pipe wrench. And then Harry makes a comeback. This is a Standard newspaper. Harry also has and the good thing, because we still not used to his caricatures, at least amelabel, Uni Rigiji, Uni Baba,
Uni Ruto.
Uni Ruto. Ameandika kila mtu, so we know who he's talking about.
There's a whole love affair happening here between Ruto and Baba, and one says broad-based for life.
Should indeed be the other way around, that it's Baba carrying the other one. Okay, but anyway.
Yeah, so Baba ameshikilia amesema official opposition, it's him. The other one is on the other side of the fence, and he's that...
Akona mzigo kubwa sana hapa impeachment.
And he's saying, so it has come to this, none of you to save me. Yeah. This was also going with what he was saying, he feels like a lonely man. Yes.
Well, today is his big day before the National Assembly. I'm sure this will be everything that everyone will be watching. On all TV stations, I'm sure it will be beamed live as the members of the National Assembly debate the motion for impeachment of the deputy president. It is unprecedented. This has never happened before in Kenya's history. I think we've seen censure motions, but a motion to impeach anyone in the presidency is the first one, and it will be history-making. Later in the evening, the deputy president will get an opportunity, and he said he'll show up at between 5 and 7 p.m. To defend himself before the MPs take a vote on his impeachment. So yes, this will be the biggest discussion.
Yani leo naambia boss, wacha leo tutoke job mapema
na nunue popcorn.
Nifike kwa nyumba by 5 p.m.
Naangazia masuala ya traffic, and you can see it's building up slowly. Yes, Thika Road is looking busy. If you go further up to around Kasarani, bits of yellow, long stretches of yellow here and there, that's slowing traffic. But once you get to the Muthaiga interchange, kama kawaida, kuna snala pale as the traffic from Kiambu Road and Thika Road builds up into that bottleneck. So yes, Saput has spent some time. Jogoo Road too, and it's extra busy today. You can see this stretch around Makadara. It extends with the yellow and the other sections in red, further towards the Likoni Road roundabout and further on towards City Stadium roundabout. So Jogoo Road a bit slower this morning. The expressway Mombasa Road looking good this morning, nothing to report there.
Haina load nyingi.
Haina load, by the way. Mombasa Road has no load. Langata Road looking good all the way to the Nyayo Stadium area. Ngong Road busy in the normal sections around Adams Arcade, around Prestige Plaza. Junction Mall not looking bad this morning. Tukiangazia ile ingine, Wayaki Way into town is looking good today. Nothing to worry about.
Yes.
Watu ni kama wameamua kutake day off ndio watch movie inaendelea bunge leo. But pale Thika Road wale wajali, they have to get to town. Biashara lazima ifunguliwe.
Yes.
So yes, we'll be taking a look at all these headlines, of course, most of them focusing on the Deputy President's impeachment with my panelists today, MP, the Embakasi East MP.
Embakasi North.
Embakasi.
Sorry. Embakasi North MP, yes.
Hapa. Sasa lazima tutarudi mpaka kule mwanzo. Hii kazi ni mrefu lakini tutaifanya tu. Leo lazima tuzunguke. Magazeti ni mengi. Finally, wameamuka na wakanini.
Ndio hiyo.
Tumesaidiwa.
Yes. Because now the Member of Parliament James Gachagua, Daniel Manduku has made his apologies.
David Ole Sankok MP, East Africa Legislative Assembly, someone who expresses himself uninhibited, will also be here. Joe Mutambu, former MP Mwingi Central, will also be joining this panel. So yes, do expect a very interesting debate.
Gachagua shafika anaendelea kupitia magazeti, so he'll be telling us what he thinks, and then later on at around 8 a.m. we dive with the political analyst, the governance analyst, as well as legal minds, just to understand what this whole process is, the do's and don'ts, what is really needed, so that wewe kama Mkenya pale, you actually understand this is what Rigathi Gachagua needs to do, this is what the parliament needs to do. Will the process follow the constitution as is? Wanja Maina, Kimani Mwangi, Banis Njeri, Karita, as well as Kathy Rungu will be joining us for that. You can always be part of this conversation from the start. Hadi tumalize. 22047 is our SMS number. 0793-267-279 is our WhatsApp number. Tell us really, what are your thoughts on today? What do you expect to see at the National Assembly? We are just continuing to even ask people, do you support this impeachment motion against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua? Ongea na sisi, will be very, very happy to sample your feedback. Tuchukue break?
Yes, let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Weka remote hapo chini.
Hey there friends, welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to
to cross the bridge, buy his house, and look for food on the other side. We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Join us as we explore the journeys of those who defy the odds and break barriers. We dive deep into the stories of triumph.
Sometimes when parenting a child with a special need or whatever disability, family life becomes a bit complicated and you may end up raising the child on your own.
Here, we inspire.
I have a farm which one we showcase with other dyslexic youths and autism, how to farm.
Motivate.
It's never easy, but what we do, the best thing is to work with another parent who has an elder child than yours.
And break through the barriers one story at a time. Push your boundaries beyond the limit. Saturdays at 8 p.m. The Grind, where business meets brilliance. It's not just about the ideas.
I was working as a shampoo boy. I used to wash clients' hair on the sink.
It's about making them happen. From big wins.
In primary school, when we would be asked what people want to be, I was categorical that I want to be a nurse.
To hard lessons.
The consoles change, the gaming equipment keep changing.
We cover it all. Tune in to The Grind, where every episode is packed with insights.
The person who is serving customers, always be a customer-centric.
Strategies.
When you pay attention to detail, you get luxury items.
And stories to fuel your ambition. Don't just dream it, grind it. Mondays at 7:30 p.m.
Jiunge nasi tunapoangazia safari za viongozi bora. Kutoka kwa ushindi mkubwa hadi masomo magumu.
Wakati wetu kwamba wasichana si wa kusoma, ni wa kuolewa, ng'ombe ipatikane, wazazi wakuwe watajiri.
Tunashughulikia yote.
I wish I were a better investor.
My parents taught me how to look for things for myself.
Tazama Mfahamu Kiongozi, ambapo kila kipindi kimejaa maarifa, mikakati na hadithi za kukuza azma yako.
For me to succeed, I have to fight.
Kila Alhamisi saa 1:30.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge, buy his house, and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Join us as we explore the journeys of those who defy the odds and break barriers. We dive deep into the stories of triumph.
Sometimes when parenting a child with a special need or whatever disability, family life becomes a bit complicated and you may end up raising the child on your own.
Here, we inspire.
I have a farm which one we showcase with other dyslexic youths and autism how to farm.
Motivate.
It's never easy, but what we do, the best thing is to work with another parent who has an elder child than yours.
And break through the barriers one story at a time. Push your boundaries beyond the limit. Saturdays at 8 p.m. The Grind, where business meets brilliance. It's not just about the ideas.
I was working as a shampoo boy. I used to wash clients' hair on the sink.
It's about making them happen. From big wins.
In primary school, when we would be asked what people want to be, I was categorical that I want to be a nurse.
To hard lessons.
The consoles change, the gaming equipment keep changing.
We cover it all. Tune in to The Grind, where every episode is packed with insights.
The person who is serving customers, always be a customer-centric.
Strategies.
When you pay attention to detail, you get luxury items.
And stories to fuel your ambition. Don't just dream it, grind it. Mondays at 7:30 p.m.
Jiunge nasi tunapoangazia safari za viongozi bora. Kutoka kwa ushindi mkubwa hadi masomo magumu.
Wakati wetu kwamba wasichana si wa kusoma, ni wa kuolewa, ng'ombe ipatikane.
Yes, and just by the sound of it, that tells you it is a special day indeed. It is D-Day for the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, as Mwingi Kibwezi West MP Mwingi Mutuse presents or debates the motion of impeachment against the Deputy President today before the National Assembly. That session to start as early as 9:30 this morning, going on until midnight tonight. The Deputy President himself will be given an opportunity to give his defense before the National Assembly between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. and thereafter members will go forward to take a vote. It is the biggest discussion. Yesterday the Deputy President came out and listed his defense before the public in that televised media address. What will happen today? We're privileged to have in studio James Gachagua, MP Embakasi North. Karibu sana. Bwana Gachagua is a known ally of the Deputy President. Now, Bwana Gachagua, listening to the Deputy President yesterday, he said a few things. One, that he will not resign. Secondly, that he will fight to the end. He talked about his belief in the judiciary. But we know before you get to the judiciary, he has to go through the National Assembly and the Senate. Is this an indication that in as far as the parliamentary process is concerned in this impeachment, that it is a done deal and the Deputy President knows this, so he's not counting on the voting or what will happen in Parliament today or in Senate in the next 1 week or so?
Thank you, Idimuri. Allow me to salute viewers from where they are watching us from, and especially those who hail from Embakasi North constituency, where I do represent in this capital city. And coming to the concern of the nightmare is that Yes. Impeachment process is a long process, and in a case of this deputy president impeachment process is a bit more harder than to impeach the governor, because you all know that when you impeach the governor, the commencement of the motion comes from the county assembly, and then it ends to the Senate. But this, because it's a national position, it's not a county position. That is why it has to emanate from the National Assembly, because that is why the nation is represented by the 290 constituencies. And in this matter, now that the matter is formally in the chamber of the National Assembly, today will be the D-Day, because it is when the motion will be moved and seconded, and from that procedure, it will now move to debate. And the debate will take the whole day, and the schedule of today has given the Deputy President 2 hours window where he will come and engage to the members of parliament, will be able to defend, given time to defend his allegations, the 11 number of them. And then at the same time, he will maybe use the same 2 hours also to address the nation. But in fact, he did well yesterday because he addressed the nation. And I will support that this is not a matter that the Deputy President should move and rush to quit or resign, because he was put to this position by Kenyans. And even at the time of betrayal like this one, I think it is also important to give it a room. That's why the National Assembly can be fully compromised, which is normal, because these are human beings, and human beings are tempted, and I'm sure that money will talk, and it's only a few who will stand that load.
So it is a done deal in as far as the National Assembly is concerned?
I would say yes. Of course, I don't want to give Kenyans very big hope on this one. But I would say one thing before I close there. We had a process of public participation, which went around the whole nation for the 2 weeks, Friday and Saturday. And if the public participation is something to assess what the will of people stands for, what is the public court stands for, it is very clear that the public have made two clear positions. Yep. One, it is not the high time to crucify one from the pair. Okay. And they were very categorical that if the deputy has to be crucified, then he has to go together with his boss. Okay. This is a statement which was very clear to the public, and I think that I was not only the one following. I am sure that all of us had been following this. And my position is that now that people have spoken, it is to those who has been delegated power by them to represent in the National Assembly and Senate to decide whether to go by the voice of the people or whether to go by the voice of the master. This is the point we are, and I hope that at this point in time, having this kind of magnitude, weight of impeachment of the deputy president, I think Kenyans have not much to do. The only two areas to rely on is one, if the National Assembly can agree to get to their sense and cast a vote according to the conscience of themselves without those outside forces' influence. Okay. And if this can be the case, I am sure that, in fact, they will cast the votes by the voice of the people and their conscience.
Okay.
But if this is not going to be the case, it's a very tricky situation in the Muri, considering that, in fact, we have seen and we have gone a route where we expected that, in fact, coming into the government for the opposition leader was nothing hypocrisy, but it's very now clear that the intention of bringing one Raila Odinga to the government was purely to stamp the last hammer of the deputy president to exit from power.
Okay.
But my remark at this particular morning is that it is not Rigathi which is faced by this particular monster, but in fact, this is a Kenyan handle, and the Kenyan Republic has spoken, and as I have said, and I would say, it is not arguing very well, seeing a scenario where then there can be a team to team together politically just to exit a particular element of political wing from power.
Okay.
But we have witnesses, and the Limuri, I would like to say, to me, I would just say, we had what we call Pentagon there before it splitted. I think we have seen Pentagon regrouping together for a particular intention. And I hope that, in fact, if the justice will not be alive at the National Assembly, we hope to see whether the judiciary will be able to handle this mantle. Therefore, to me, it's not lost, and there's still hope. Okay. And we still hope that, in fact, at the end of the day, there'll be a way out of it.
Okay. Thank you for that opening remark. And yesterday, of course, many Kenyans had expected that when the Deputy President invited members of the press for that press conference, that he would probably have used the opportunity to throw in the towel and offer his resignation. But the Deputy President was adamant that that was not among his options. Let's watch this story as filed by our reporter, TV47.
This I'm not. My statement was that if there is something I've done to the president that I don't know, that probably has upset him, I ask for his forgiveness. But that was in no way an admission of this ridiculous allegations meant to overturn the will of the people. Finally, in conclusion, I want to say that overturning the will of the people is not a joke. It calls for very serious violation of the Constitution. None of these issues here meets the threshold. We'll go to Bunge tomorrow. I'll be there at 5 for 2 hours, and I'll put my case. In the unfortunate event it proceeds to the Senate, I'll be there again to prove my innocence by way of evidence. When I called this press conference, there was a lot of speculation that Rigathi Gachagua wants to resign. This is a man elected by 7.2 million Kenyans. How dare you suggest to him that he can do so without public participation? I have no intention whatsoever to resign from this job. I'll fight to the end. I have tremendous respect for our judiciary and the professional judges of the High Court, the Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court. And in the professional manner, they have handled serious issues affecting Kenya. The impeachment of a deputy president elected by 7.2 million Kenyans is not a small matter that can hastily be decided by a few members of parliament and senators and wish it away. I'll submit myself to independent institutions to get justice. And I'm sure, I have no doubt in my mind that I'll get justice. And this impeachment will be thrown out. And I'll carry out my duties as deputy president. That is why anybody sending feelers to me to resign is a joker. And I found a few people using my friends to come and sweet talk to me. Please, my friends, I don't want to become enemies with you. When you are given such silly messages, don't bring them to me. I have no intention. I cannot resign. I did not give myself this job. I was given by the people of Kenya. I've done nothing wrong against the people of Kenya whatsoever. I've worked hard. I've been very loyal to my boss, President William Ruto. I have worked hard every day.
I will not resign. I will fight to the end. Two things, Bwana Gachagua, from there. One is a question I'd asked you. The deputy president appears to have already moved to the judiciary and says he has a lot of faith in the judiciary. By that, he's bypassing the National Assembly and the Senate, where it has not even moved yet. Does it mean that he has no faith in the independence of both houses of parliament? One. Secondly, okay, just answer that one first. Yes.
Tell Kenyans, and I tell them the total truth. That in fact, if the master is picking phone calling members, what else do you expect at the end of the day?
When you talk about the master...
I don't want to keep elaborating the money, but I'm talking about the master. But when the master takes a phone calling senators individually, calling members individually, it tells you how serious and committed the matter is, and how dear it is that if it must see the right of the day, either way. And this is where we sometimes we ask ourselves, what is the independence of these institutions? And to myself, I would say, the executive has been always molesting the independence of the parliament. And this is totally wrong. And if judiciary could have allowed itself to this trap, then we could be having no country. It's only today we have trust with the judiciary because we have seen it resisting to be molested. And this is how the parliament should stand for. But if the speaker himself, who is the core of the shots of the National Assembly, seems to have taken side, where else do you expect to have a balanced case in the whole process? Okay. In this case, maybe probably I have not heard from the Senate, but in the National Assembly, it's a die. A die which has cast, because we have heard from the Speaker himself, and we have heard from his deputy. Her deputy, Honorable Shalay, in the public. If that is a position, then how do you expect that to change at the floor of the House? It means, yes, the die is casted, and every single strategy is made that there is nothing to survive. Man has to die.
All right. Let's take a break right now. We'll be back to continue this conversation, including finding out who are these friends who were sent to the deputy president asking him to resign. You're watching Morning.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side. We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Join us as we explore the journeys of those who defy the odds and break barriers. We dive deep into the stories of triumph.
Sometimes when parenting a child with a special need or whatever disability, family life becomes a bit complicated and you may end up raising the child on your own.
Here, we inspire.
I have a farm which one we showcase with other dyslexic youths and autism, how to farm.
Motivate.
It's never easy, but what we do, the best thing is to work with another parent who has an elder child than yours.
And break through the barriers one story at a time. Push your boundaries beyond the limit. Saturdays at 8 p.m. The Grind, where business meets brilliance. It's not just about the ideas.
I was working as a shampoo boy. I used to wash clients' hair on the sink.
It's about making them happen. From big wins.
In primary school, when we would be asked what people want to be, I was categorical that I want to be a nurse.
To hard lessons.
The consoles change, the gaming equipment keep changing.
We cover it all. Tune in to The Grind, where every episode is packed with insights.
The person who is serving customers, always be a customer-centric.
Strategies.
When you pay
Yes, Tuesday, 8th of October 2024 promises to be a very heated day, an unprecedented date for this country. The impeachment motion of the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, finding its way into the National Assembly. The motion will be moved officially, moving to the second reading today in readiness for its debate, which will take more or less the entire day. The Deputy President to get his time to give his defense later in the evening between 5 and 7 p.m. After that, members of the National Assembly will take a vote. How will it go? I'm still in studio with the Honorable James Gakuya, MP Embakasi North, and now joining the panel is Joe Mutambu, former MP Mwingi Central. Just before the break, Bwana Mutambu, karibu sana, by the way.
Thank you.
We had the Deputy President come out and speak yesterday. He said something very interesting. I will not resign. I will fight to the end. He also said that he has a lot of faith in the judiciary. We know the process will go on for a while, but he did not say he has a faith in the Senate. He definitely did not say he has a faith in the National Assembly. Do you get the feeling that even he feels that as far as the parliamentary process is concerned, it is a done deal and his only saving grace is probably at the judiciary?
The issue of Gachagua being impeached, and my opinion, I am on a record saying that Gachagua's goose is cooked. I'm saying that because I know that Gachagua is being removed from office for reasons which are not being tabled.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever is hitting Gachagua has not been placed on the table. What we are having is something which cannot quantify or cannot qualify to remove a man in the office. If you have gone through the allegations and you follow them, then no person if that is what to hold to remove somebody in office, to say somebody has got this business and that, I want, like Jesus asked those who wanted to stone that woman, whoever knows that they have not committed a sin, to throw the first stone. And in English, we say those who stay in glass houses, they don't also throw stones. So if that is the case, then nobody should hold office in this country. Because I don't know who doesn't have or own or run a business somewhere in this country and they are in government offices. I don't know who don't have money in this country and they are in government business. So those are not the reasons. And I would appreciate if the movers or if those who are agitating for the removal of deputy president could come openly and tell Kenyans, these are the reasons why we want Gachagua out. Then people may think twice, right? But accusing him of, be it true that he acquired an hotel somewhere, be it true that he runs this business somewhere, be it true he called somebody in a government office, I can tell you, any senior person in this country, they call their junior for one reason or the other. Either even for those tenders, let me tell you, they are directed. Tenders are negotiated. Then the institutions are told, implement this. And that's what they do. So that happens on a daily basis. I don't see that's the basis. For Gachagua to survive, I told you that it can only be two people. One is Ruto himself calling the members and tell them, go slow. The other is court. But for a man like Gachagua, when you look and listen to him, you see an angry man, a man who feels betrayed. And this is a man who would say, I'll go to the fullest, what come may. And it's a man who has decided, even if I will never hold an office, I'm still alive and I have my God. I will eat Gundoma and Gwashi, and life continues. I was not born to be a vice president or to be a member of parliament or to hold an office. I can do my other things and still survive. Because I believe those who buy milk from him, they will not stop buying milk from him because he's no longer deputy president. So he has his life. The question we need to ask ourselves is, where is this leading us and what is it going to do to the country? That's the question we beg to ask. Where is this taking us? When you look at the entire process of removing the deputy president or any other officer, even including the members of parliament, to impeach a member of parliament, to recall them, because that is what is in the law, there is a process. Do we follow that process? Can we achieve it? So when it comes to issue of public participation, which was pronounced even by court, and how to do it, it cannot be just a mere exercise whereby people purported to have met and we have a report that these people said this and that. How and where is the credibility of that report of public participation, which was conducted on Friday? All the have been following. And when you listen to people, if you went to public participation to ask the opinion of the people cannot be implemented now because what they are calling for is not there. People are calling for both Kufa Makanga, Kufa and Reva. And what is the truth? The members of parliament, they have one motion for one person. So the other one is not there. You see? But that is the wish of the people. So what did the people say? That both of them to go. Can that happen today? The answer is no. So was the questionnaires prepared well for people, and was there enough time to sensitize the people on what they are expecting? So it is the whole thing is murky.
Okay. Bwana Gakuya, there was a whole issue of anticipation that the deputy president might resign. In fact, a lot of people, including newsrooms, had prepared for that eventuality that the deputy president might just throw in the towel and resign. There are implications. If this impeachment is successful, he may be barred from occupying any public office or vying for public office going forward. But it would appear the deputy president is already intent on going the whole hole and saying, fine, I may give up on my political career. He said something very interesting, that there are people who have been sent to him, friends sent to him to ask him to resign. Are you aware of this? And who is this who is so interested in having the deputy president resign instead of fighting his impeachment?
Edmuri, let me say that that particular aspect of persuading the deputy president to resign has been there for long. Even us who are his allies have been approached to approach him to go that direction. But I think if your conscience tells you that you are not guilty of the allegations, then what you need to do, once you feel that you better fight the battle to the end, because at the end of the tunnel, there can be a light. And in this case, I would say, the justice may not be realized at the National Assembly, the justice may not be realized at the Senate, but there is a big hope that our judiciary has been standing tall. And I believe, even myself, that the judiciary, it's not be a business as usual. They will give themselves time and they will make a decision that is prompt. In this case, I would say, Idimori, that
who is this who's interested in having the deputy president resign instead of fighting the impeachment? You say even you have been approached.
Of course, but one thing, Idimori, let me just be very clear that in fact, there is a fear that the court at the end of the day may seal the deal and the deputy president may survive. If we survive from that angle, then the intended mission has collapsed. And that is why they are giving him a lot of pressure to resign at this stage.
From which direction is this concern coming from? I want to understand who is this who's really concerned that the deputy president, if he does not resign, things may not go...
The authors of the motion and the team are the people who are pushing for that direction. Because, in fact, what I'm saying, it may see the light of the day in the National Assembly, see the light of the day at the Senate, and fail to see the light of the day at the judiciary.
Yesterday, the deputy president was asked directly on whether or not he feels or he is aware that the president is behind the motion, and he answered in the affirmative that yes, the president has given the nod. Is that where the direction, is that the direction from where this push for him to resign is coming from?
Let me say that, Idimuli, the answer is just there. That there is no way that you can distance this motion with the head of state. If the head of state has not signed an approval of the motion, it could not have seen the light of the day at the National Assembly. To only make him a single phone call to Mutuse, ask him to drop the motion, and that would be the end of it. But since he has a blessing on it, then you can expect you can expect the reality.
Okay.
Because as I remember, the Speaker of the National Assembly was in his tour to Asia, and he was standing back on his way so that he can come and make sure that this particular process is done and complete. So it was a done case. And don't forget, in the Muri, we have seen the head of state riding with Raila Odinga in the most cross tours that he has ended, including China, including Germany, including America. Why? Just to make the deal sealed. Yes, you keep Raila at his on your toes so that in fact everything will go your way.
Okay.
Yes, and that's how I can tell you the head of state cannot say he has not given blessing to this motion.
And therefore, he's the one who's interested in the deputy resigning.
Of course.
Okay. He did not resign, and he said he would not resign. He is fighting to the end. Do you believe that that complicates matters for those people who are behind this motion, Bwana Mutambo?
You know, there are not many people who are behind the motion. You know me, I say it as it is. And I am one man who never shy to speak the way I see it, right? And I have nothing against anybody. Between the two, Gachagua and Ruto. Ruto is my close friend, very close. I've never interacted with Gachagua myself. Never, not even one day. The only interaction Gachagua had with me is when he was firing me. So I have nothing to take home, despite that he comes from where my wife comes from. Okay? Ruto is a friend, somebody whom you have dined with, whom you have shared a lot of experience in politics and work together, person who has come to your own house and drank tea and had nduma and nyama chemusha in your home. That is a friend, right? But I don't think that there is any other Kenyan who has got interest to remove Gachagua more than his boss. Let's put it as clear as it is. And he has his reasons. He has his own reasons why he wanted him out. Those reasons were not put bare to Kenyans. And this is Mutambo now talking, knowing how government works. So the only route for Ruto to do was to get his allies, the people who are in his camp, to support his ambition of removing his deputy. Because we are talking of deputy of the president. We are not talking any other person whom we can just say we are going to name. When you touch Gachagua, you are talking of deputy president, President Ruto. You are talking of presidency. How would I allow my president to be touched by somebody from somewhere in a remote area Ukambani by the name of Mutuse? What interest does Mutuse has? Mutuse has got no, let me tell you, has got no interest. Mutuse is just a messenger. It's just passing a message. And Mutuse is my good friend. Somebody, when I say my friend, I mean somebody I can call, I tell him, Mheshimiwa Mutuse, I don't have 50 shillings to buy salt. Could you send it to me? That is a friend. And I can tell you, we know these things. He has no interest whatsoever to have Gachagua removed. That information Mutuse came up with. That information. Yes, he told us that he had time to do his research. Give him credit, he did the research. But do you truly believe that Mutuse spent that time to go and check which hotel was where, which company was registered? Do you think he did that? Some people did for him. Because there is an urge somewhere above which is pushing the removal of Gachagua. And what I would want to ask people to be honest and tell us, why are we impeaching Gachagua? Let us not be told we are impeaching him because he has an hotel somewhere, because he called, I don't know, Mulwa, he called who. Those should not be grounds. Let us be told why, because it may happen again tomorrow, all right, to another deputy president. And that deputy president may behave like Gachagua. So if Gachagua behaved in a manner to cause anarchy in this country, let it be put on the table so that we know it is country Kenya, which is being the people of Kenya who are being protected from Gachagua.
Okay. Bwana Gakuya, we saw the kind of excitement around Parliament, especially after the motion for impeachment received overwhelming support, 291 signatures from members of the National Assembly. Now, that is a lot of confidence, or would rather give the movers of this motion or those behind this motion a lot of confidence. Why would they still be interested in pushing the deputy president to resign if at all they're so sure about these numbers? Is it an indication that there is, or there has occurred in the last few days, a slight drop in confidence from those who are pushing for this motion of impeachment?
In Mori, what I would assure you is that, in fact, you have just witnessed from various members, and especially those who come from the Mount Kenya region. You have seen them. Member for Ruiru, member for Kebete, have member for, we have two members from Nyeri and a women rep for Nyeri, a member from Embu. And I can tell you about 6-7 number of them. Even member for Kiambu has indicated the same route. And I think because members have to ask themselves a simple question before they cast this vote. It is a relation between the government and the member for the 3 years. we let's assure the comeback. Is this representing the people? And that window for public, I can assure you, if a member is a member to be persuaded by the voice of the people has spoken. And therefore, it's upon you as a member to decide whether to go people's way or your master's way. But there is a point where there will be a crossroad, because this will be a term of 3 years. It will end, but it is within your jurisdiction to decide where you want to position yourself. And in Muri, I want to just summarize by saying, today there is a big fear that a big number may not turn up to the floor of the House, because what is most worst is to vote otherwise, other than what you have promised your boss. And those members who feel that they don't want to shame their boss, probably they will pull out. They will not be in the House. But those who feel that they have nothing to lose, they will fail. And let us wait to see how the day will be able to revolve itself. But I can tell you, at the end of the day, the people of Kenya has put a very serious pressure, and those members who represent the people will put their conscience to the voice of the people. And if that is the case, then the fears that you are seeing ahead, then you can start realizing them. I am sure that, in fact, the authors of this particular motion do not want this to fail at all cost, and they want the motion to sail. Mm-hmm. And therefore, theirs is to put a lot of pressure to the Deputy President to resign early before the final verdict of the judiciary. Because I have told you before, and I have told the public before, the master can be able to compromise the whole National Assembly and get the numbers. He can compromise Senate and get the numbers. It's only one independent commission, which is judicially, an independent organ, which is judiciary, which Kenyans has hope today, and equally the Deputy President has hope. And I am sure it is important for him to take the whole scope of this process, because the master have decided to seat you. Then go to the last to the last handle and let even the judiciary put on the face its determination. And if the whole process will see you are gone, including judiciary, then you say, fine. Okay. And I think that is the route we should go. And nobody should persuade the Deputy President to resign at this particular time. And if the government feels, because you cannot tell me that Mutuse, the member for Kibwezi, is coming with a barrack of lawyers paying from his pocket. It is not even the National Assembly which can start to pay for those lawyers. Then this is a government project. It is purely the government which will pay the lawyers to go to defend the case or to face the Gachagua's litigation team at the floor of the House. And this tells you that it is not Mutuse's project. Mutuse is a pure messenger in this. Even the dossier presented, Mutuse does not know even its history. That is why Mutuse does not even have the history of those properties that belongs to the former governor, the late, and Gachagua. They cannot be able to differentiate because he was just given a dossier, go and present. Then he tells you, at some point, if the feeling of the government is that, in fact, they may be defeated at a point because of failure to have enough grounds, then the fear is there. And then the pressure to put to keep the Deputy President to exit from the position is very high. Okay. And my position is the Deputy President position that we have to cling to the end, and we have to fight this battle to the end. And as his ally, this is my position, and I have persuaded him to fight this matter to the end. He will lose nothing, even at the end. Tomorrow, even though Gachagua will never become the president of this country, he will be having his say in the country, and therefore he can become a kingpin. or kingmaker in the future. He has not started lose this battle today just to evade a position where he can become a king of this country.
But let's put that on the back burner for a bit, what will happen after. Let's talk about today and the motion before the National Assembly. Of course, it's the numbers and the vote that we expect later in the evening. But it would appear there are concerns that the numbers may not add up. You've been a member of the National Assembly. You've been present when such divisive or very dicey, controversial motions come before the National Assembly, including the BBI, which required a 2/3 majority. How difficult is it, or how easy is it, with a kind of influence, even from the executive, to marshal MPs to get the required 2/3 majority? And do you think it is a done deal that, yes, we saw 291 members append their signatures to support the motion, that, yes, 233 will be a walk in the park?
This is a day I would wish, if I was a member of parliament, I would wish not to be one today. Because politics is local. And when you are there, as a member of parliament, there is where you come from. And there is immense pressure, not from the president, not from the allies of Gachagua, but from the boss or the bosses of those members of parliament. And that pressure is coming from none other than the voters. The voters, they have their say. And as a member of parliament, if I go contrary to the wishes and the will of the people who elected me, I am in a bigger trouble than going against what the president wants. Because it will come up time when the president will be out there seeking for his re-election. I will also be seeking re-election from my place. And president will not vote for me. I will be voted either in or out by the people of the area where I come from. So the first voice, the first boss I should listen to if I am a member of parliament is the people who elected me. So what are the views of the people who elected those members of parliament? What do they want? Do I go against that? Or do I go against one person who will say, will not do development in your area because that's the only thing.
Have you ever been in that position yourself, where you're torn in between supporting a motion probably pushed by your party leader or the executive, and probably your people do not agree with?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Actually, when I was elected as a member of parliament, my first month was an honorable month, and all Kenyans knows, because I was under pressure to resign, to give way for my party leader. To go to parliament. And that is where my relationship and Kalonzo started bending. Okay? People of Mwingi Central elected me and they wanted me. And when it came to that point, I told my party leader, this is not my seat. This seat belongs to people of Mwingi. So if I walk out today and let you in, I'm not sure whether they elect you or they want that decision. They want me to go that way. All right? So I was in that position. And I made a bold move to divide my party leader and tell him I am not resigning. Because this seat belongs to people of Mwingi. It is in the records. So I'm not saying anything new or I'm not maligning anybody. I'm saying what is in the records. You media, you have all those clips. All right? So I have been to that position. So today, I'm expecting the same. Members of parliament, they are under, but there are those who don't care. There are those who don't care, who think that Mwananchi doesn't matter. I will do what my boss wants. Okay? I am not allied to any. I'm not allied to Gachagua. I'm not allied to Ruto. Okay? Despite him being my friend, I'm not saying that I'm supporting what he's doing. If something is wrong, I call it's wrong. If it is right, it is right. And I'm saying this is wrong because we are being treated to impeachment of a deputy president whom the reasons which are brought forward are not the reasons why they want him out. I would support Ruto 100% if he tables the reasons why he wants Gachagua out. So today in parliament, because the bosses spoke, The boss of members of spoke, of the members of parliament spoke. I can guarantee you from where I sit, those 291 members who signed, maybe 50 or 30% of them are calling their signatures back. Some of them, even from my place in Ukambani, I heard them say, me, I did not sign, and I saw my name there. Why? Because they saw and they heard the cry of the people on the ground, and nobody want to lose their seat. No member of parliament want to mess with the members, with the voters. Nobody would want to do that. So for today, I'm seeing a scenario where members of parliament will be changing their tune. They will be reasoning in a different manner, not the way they were applauding the motion when it came, because they are also, after listening to Gachagua yesterday, if you are Christian and you are a human being and you have that heart of humanity, you also consider some things. There are members of parliament, if I was one, I would ask myself, but Mututsa told us that Gachagua spent 5 billion. How did he get that information? How was that? Do you know 5 billion? He has 5 billion. He acquired property within 2 years. How did he get this money and how did he acquire these properties within that short span of time? So people are asking themselves, after Gachagua spoke yesterday, there are so many people who will change their mind because of that interview which Gachagua did. So people may start saying, this man is talking too much, but sometimes you have to defend yourself as a man. And he came out. And that pressure for yesterday may lead to some members changing, even Mutusa himself.
Yet everyone expected, Bonagakuya, that the deputy president has already been promised 2 hours by the National Assembly between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. today, and that was to be the best opportunity for him to answer blow by blow to the members of the National Assembly that this is my defense against each and every one of your accusations. So many people are wondering, what was the necessity of him doing or giving that presser yesterday evening?
In the morning, the answer is obvious. And I think yesterday, Gachagua was appealing to the country and he was making his case to the people because the allegations are already set and he may not have enough time in the floor of the House to respond everything in the 2 hours time. And I think he spent his last night chance to tell public before he moves to the National Assembly the obvious and his position. And like that one to me, I think it's quite okay. Because any member who feels that in fact there were serious and correct, informed allegations before even those areas that Gachagua will not be able to tackle today, he has a clear know-how on how the situation are. And this, to me, the public also too has their own say. The public can also be able to persuade their members, those they elected, to move their way. And I don't think that there is anything wrong with his yesterday's submission to the public on how he has owned all the properties that are allocated, and also the positions of those other allegations in the manner he took time yesterday to address them. So I don't think that today we are expecting a lot of change from what he said yesterday. And probably he was just preempting along the time of debate, because as much as he has to move to defense, that is his defense. And it is in public. So whether he will get enough time to take it through, or whether not, anybody who will be or wanted to exchange and get to know more, already he has the know-how of what is the dossier of Gachagua's defense. And that to me is okay. He has shared it to the public, and we are also public, even though we are people's representative. Those who wanted to follow and know exactly where. Then any member who comes, he has his own areas of gray that hapa sikusikia mzuri, hapa sikuelewa vizuri, lakini tayari ushasikia. So I think it was a good gesture, and to me, put things right. And as a truthful man, put all the truth on the table.
Okay.
Let the people understand, and they will cast their vote to that.
Yet there are those who feel that probably the deputy president was ill-advised to come out yesterday, that he has held even the last 2-3 interviews with media that he conducted, that probably that was a bit ill-advised. That is on one hand. The other argument is that the deputy president may have gotten to a point where he has realized that this is a done deal, and then he decided to, if I'm going down, I bring down the house with me. Which is which?
You know, in one hand, deputy president is a human being and is a Kenyan, right? And there's a way we perceive, Kenyans perceive people or leaders. I remember Kiraito Murungi crying in parliament when his name was dragged in some scandal or something. Mm-hmm. And he was saying, look here, the figures being mentioned and the accusation being leveled against me, I cannot even take breakfast to my children because I sit there and my children are asking me, Daddy, what happened? What did you do with all this money? Which is not right. So here there's a figure of 5 billion leveled against Gachagua as money or wealth acquired in a wrong manner. And whether Gachagua survives or he doesn't, he will live in this country and he will be living with the same Kenyans. So he had a reason to address the Kenyans because right now he's the deputy president. And when he calls media, the media will come. And Kenyans would want to hear what is it this deputy president is saying, as opposed to when he's impeached. Mm-hmm. He may not get that opportunity to address Kenyans and they listen to him as they can listen to him today. So he had that opportunity to do so, to make sure that I tell Kenyans, why am I being crucified? Or the information you have there is not, you wanted to make correct, to make right that, or to say, Mutuse, what you are telling Kenyans is not the truth. Mm-hmm. That is all what he did yesterday. If I listened to him well, I got to understand Gachagua was not addressing the members of parliament. He was addressing Kenyans and he was addressing one man called Mutuse. That Mutuse, whatever you were sent to do, you did a wrong thing because this information you are alluding to is not the way you are taking it because these properties are not mine. Mm-hmm. Okay? That's what he was doing yesterday. And for any person, when you are pushed to the wall, okay, you'll have to push back. So he was trying to push back because he has seen there is no person or any leader, the big ones, Raila, Ruto, Mudavadi, Wetangula, the rest, they are not with him. So he found himself in a lone place, alone. And he said, I have to defend myself because if I don't do that, I will drown. It's like when somebody is being swept away by water in a river. What do? You grab anything which can support you. So Gachagua is trying to grab anything because he's going away with the water. And he has seen it because the members of parliament are determined. And when you listen to what, and I think I would also take this opportunity to say this. Although I know our constitution guarantees freedom of speech, but I don't think it guarantees us freedom after speech. Mm-hmm. So I'm a bit careful with what I'm saying. The leaders, and especially leaders from Rift Valley, the way they are talking is a recipe for a civil war in this country. Mm-hmm. I listened yesterday to one leader by the name Kamuket, giving history on how leaders or presidents from Rift Valley have been tried to be overthrown. And he said Kenyatta, there was no attempt to overthrow Kenyatta. There was attempt to overthrow Moi. There was no attempt to overthrow Kibaki. There was no attempt to overthrow Uhuru Kenyatta, but there was attempt to overthrow Ruto. And when you listen to that statement, you understand why Gachagua is being impeached. If you are clever and you are able to digest some words. But that statement is a very serious statement, given that the people who are being mentioned here are people from Mount Kenya and the Rift Valley, where we are living our Kenyans who live across those lines, those borders, those who live in in Central, and those who live in the Rift Valley of opposite tribes. It's a balloon which can be poked and burst anytime. So I would caution leaders on this matter. Let us not drag Kenyans into it. It's a leader's thing. Let it remain with the leaders. Let them fight their battle, and they leave Kenyans to make their own decision when the right time comes. But for now, we are trying to ignite a fire which can spread very easily and very quickly, because this country today, the way it is today, it is not a country to joke with. We cannot joke with angry Kenyans who are out there, and we cannot just keep on feeding them with any kind of information or material we want to release from our mouth. We have to be very careful on what we are saying. I want to caution on this matter. If it is the issue of impeaching Gachagua, let it go the way it is going. Even for Mutuse, let me tell you, I come from Ukambani, and I know the feelings of Kambas. This man in Ukambani today, because the way Kambas are perceiving or they are seeing him, you know, there was some relationship growing between the Kambas and the Kikuyus, and there was that feeling that this time round, Kikuyus and the Kambas can come together, which is nothing wrong with that, because President is doing it. He's uniting with the Luos and Luyas. So Kambas were to unite with our cousins across here and come up with something. And Kambas are feeling that Mutuse betrayed the community, because now the Kikuyus will start thinking, oh, we wanted to join hands with the Kambas, and they are removing one of our own. I can tell you there's a question mark there. Okay. Right? So Kambas are not happy. So this thing may destroy people's either careers or relationship or any other social connection with others. And it is not a good thing. We need to be very careful on what we are saying and what we are doing.
The other thing that drew a lot of attention from members of the public is his explanation about the accusation on his utterances with regard to shareholding of government. And in that, he brought out the agreement, and the Kenya Kwanza agreement that was signed between the president and other leaders of affiliate parties, basically ANC and Ford Kenya, that's Musalia Mudavadi, and the current Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula. It's interesting that he drew the name of the speaker there. And do you think that was a salvo or a missile directed at the Speaker of the National Assembly, and do you expect that to work against him?
Anyway, in the more, let me say, as much as that is part of the allegation, it is true that, in fact, whether we may look it on a different way, there is no way you can, at any point, bring it as a bad omen or a bad position from the perspective of Gachagua. Let us draw ourselves back and ask ourselves, how are the formations of coalitions? The formations of coalition, both sides, Simiu and the Kenya Kwanza, it was a memorandum of understanding signed with packages. These packages are what? What can you describe them? They were part of the share discussed. Because the signing of a memorandum between the Western and the KK government, it was based on a particular percent of performance. If you perform that percent of the votes from Western region, then the package will be this. What can you talk? How can you tell about that package? That package is a share, because yes, and it was, and it at the end of the day, after the win of the battle, anybody who had cemented his memorandum got the share. That's how you find Kingi standing for power, becoming the Senate Speaker. That's how you find Wetangula becoming the Senate, becoming the Speaker of the National Assembly. And that's how you find Mudavadi and his team. And even in the current stake of the cabinet, there is a stake for Wetangula. If you can ask yourself, who is this Minister for Health? You can see the arm of Wetangula there. That is her person. And it means she's still fighting for the shares. But because it's not coming from just from the universe. It has to be something, and it has to be an agreement of a kind. And it is not, in any case, a crime for somebody to call it a share. It's only that the name share is been taken as if it's a division way. But I can tell you for sure, nobody who is having something in this government who has owned it on another way. It is through that memorandum of understanding which was converted to be a part of the share. And that's how you see even Mutua. Mutua has his whole cabinet minister asked by his share, and that was it. And I can tell you, you may try to divert it. When the president sometimes back was around Nyaza, he came very critical on that particular element of shares, and he was very he did call it a backward thinking, and to me it was not a backward thinking. If it managed to deliver a government, then it is through that promises, when all these teams and which came together were promised, made the deliverance. And it was delivered through that route. Then it was not possible to deliver it through an angle, because the other team has taken their team together. And on your team, you took your team together. And together, whatever little one and at the end was a share out of the win. And therefore, nobody can demonize this. It can be seen, okay, to the eyes of the public. But the correct position is that is the truth, that everybody got a share out of his sacrifice and contribution in that particular battle.
Okay. Do you buy that explanation?
I deviate from his opinion a little bit. So whatever I'm saying is similar to what he's saying. The lack of understanding what to say, when, and to who is the problem here. Right? There are things which are not mentioned by the leaders to public. There are things you don't tell your voters or the people you lead. There are discussions held in boardrooms and discussions which are held in platforms out there, when in rallies. And there's what you can't say as a leader. For Gachagua to come and say this is a government like a company with the shares, it was wrong. Be it so, you don't have to say it. That is what I'm thinking. As a president, you don't have to tell Kenyans, you know, you elected me, and this is what I will do. No. Do what you are doing, but don't tell the people who voted for you. You may think that you are doing it or you are saying it because you are either a truthful person or whatever, but it may have some consequences. It may harm. Mm-hmm. There is something I can say today and it has got no effect. And there's something, the same thing is said by the president and it will have a lot of spiral effect. So that's what we need to understand. When we are leaders, there's what you do and there's what you don't do. More used to tell us there's need to know basis. There's need to know what to say, where and to who and at what time. As a deputy or as a president, You are the uniting factor of the nation. And you are the father of everybody, those who voted for you and those who did not vote for you. And if you have anything behind your back to do something for those who voted for you and not to do for those who never voted for you, you don't say it. If you want to make an appointment of somebody who supported you, and you don't want to appoint who never supported you, you do so quietly. The moment you go out there and start shouting, you know, I'm appointing Idimuli because he's my supporter, and I'm not appointing you because you never, then that brings you down. You don't hold that stature of a leader. That is the problem we are having with Gachagua. Okay. He is truthful, but not all truth, which helps you. Even sometimes I remember God told this, who was he? Who was sent to go and anoint David. And he told him, when you go there, tell them you have come to do what? To give sacrifice. You did not go to anoint a king because they will kill you. That is God telling him, be wise. So the problem with Gachagua, he speaks everything which comes to his mind. That is one problem he is facing. And that's why you see him in this trouble. If he could manage himself in a manner that he look national and not tribal, because whether you are Kikuyu, whether you are whatever, once you've been appointed a deputy president, you are deputy president for the Republic of Kenya, but not for a region. And that is what now Kenyans, forget about Mutuse. Kenyans are accusing deputy president for trying to look tribal in his region, yet they feel is a deputy president of all. And one person who would think like that is me, because he removed me as a camp and he put a Kikuyu. So those are the things which people are looking at. And that's what I'm advising him, deputy president. Even if you survive today, you need to adjust yourself to suit the position you are holding.
Okay.
It is not how much you are learned. It is how wise you are to adopt to the expectations of Kenyans.
As we come to the close of this conversation, of course, the next logical step is, if at all the impeachment is successful, then there will be a vacancy in the deputy president's position. And of course, they already look at the front page of the Star. They're talking about Ruto's big gamble, plans for new DP from Mount Kenya region. And the faces of those possible names are there. There are those who say it should go to a different region. There are those who even argue that ODM will lay a claim to the number 2 slot. One of those allies of the deputy president, I think, is a former Bahati MP, Kimani Mujiri, has already said that once Rigathi, if at all, is removed from this position, then the president should not even bother giving that position to anyone else from that mountain, from the mountain. Do you share in that stand? And what is your take on this debate about the next deputy president?
In the morning, I do not want to preempt the outcome of this process of impeachment, but supposing it can go the worst way, where all the windows will be crossed, and then the outcome will be the exit of Gachagua from power. Then, personally, seeing it on a different way, because I have said and repeated that, in fact, one, the appointing authority will do what we call political arithmetics and proper assessment on the gains that this position will give, not only for the remaining 3 years, but even that particular close of the 2027 politics. So something beyond these 3 years. And in this case, I am sure that various communities has been promised this position. We overheard from the member that were in this panel with last time, saying that even the ODM has been promised this position. But politically, the appointing authority will just assess the situation very well, and he will just make his improved decision by assessing all angles. It may be very easy to get back to Central if the head of state, in his mind, has not lost hope with the Mount Kenya votes. But in case the head of state has crossed his political gamble in Mount Kenya, then this position will see itself elsewhere, where he feels that, in fact, he can build new bloc to even assist him climbing in the next election. And those are the areas he will use. And I have no problem if the president will decide to appoint somebody to replace Gachagua from Mount Kenya region. I don't want to say who to be. This is his prerogative, and he is open to make his own decision. Because I can tell you for sure, he will not bring anybody from Mount Kenya that will appease the sorrows of Mount Kenya.
All right.
This one, take it home, that whether he will bring Kamau, Joroge, or who, the Mount Kenya will not be appeased to this, because they have spoken.
Okay.
And if he's a sincere reader, he would have taken the thoughts and the voice of people of that region. And they have said, we have nothing wrong with this man. So we need this man to survive his 3 years, and that is their cast. That's my position.
30 seconds for your parting shot before I give Bwana.
My parting shot, Idemuri, I would say, today is a D-Day. It's a big day for the nation. The members of parliament, all eyes are on you. The debate will come to the floor, and I would ask you, as the people's representatives, listen to the voice of the people. Cast your decision, cast your votes by the voice of the people. And if today we can be sincere enough to go to vote as per our conscience, it will not harm us at all. But note that this knife that today most of you are ready to use to hammer one of your own, do not forget there is always tomorrow. And you might find yourself or very close friend of yours in the same situation. So as you cast your votes, consider that tomorrow is another day. And I wish to ask you, may you vote as per your conscience.
Okay. Thank you, Bwana Gachagua. Finally, Bwana Mutambo, final comments.
This whole thing has taught us a lot of lessons. I'm having some difficulties in understanding both president and his deputy. One, Gachagua stand and said, I did nothing. Then yesterday he says, forgive me. Why are you asking for forgiveness? If you know you have done nothing, why don't you stand with the truth and say, I've done nothing and there's nothing to apologize? Because why are you apologizing if you did nothing? So that one I don't understand. I also don't understand my president, because he tells me he's a staunch Christian. All right? And us as Christians, there is a prayer which Jesus taught us to pray. And in the midst of that prayer, there is a sentence which says, forgive us our sins or our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us or who sin against us. Mm-hmm. Now, if a man comes and says, I'm sorry, forgive me, and you don't forgive, and you go to church to say, forgive me, who did you forgive? So I am confused there. I don't know who to take serious and who not to take serious. But the whole thing is bringing this country into a shame. It's bringing people of Kenya who are so united, because I was in Eldoret. You live in Eldoret, they are Kikuyus, and I want to thank people of Eldoret because they live in harmony. So anybody trying to bring anything to disrupt that peace, it is not right. I know Kikuyu land. I've been there. And there are so many people. Kikuyu live everywhere in this country. And they are respected. And the moment we try to bring issues to affect those people, their livelihood, how they live, it is very unfortunate. So I would caution, whatever the case is, whether Gachagua is being impeached, because Gachagua will never remain the deputy president for life. There will be another one and another one. President Ruto will never be the president for life in Kenya. If he manages another term, then it will be only 5 years and his die is cast. He will never be the president. There will be another president. And I said here, what you do to people may be done to you. So you have to be very careful when you are dealing with the source of people and people of God. You have to be very careful. There are things you don't do and there are things you can do. For this one, I think it is beyond, because we don't understand what is the problem. Because Kenyans made their choice and they elected two gentlemen. What happened to them? Nobody knows. And we don't know. What we are seeing or what is being fronted is a sideshow. It's a cover-up for the main reason. And I would urge, can we get the main reason why Gachagua is impeached? Because up to today, we have none.
Okay. Joe Mutambo, former MP Mwingi Central, James Gakuya, MP Embakasi North. On this D-Day, the 8th of October 2024, big day for Kenya, unprecedented by all standards. It is the very first time that we get to see a motion against the impeachment of a member of the presidency, this time the deputy president, being moved in the National Assembly, members of the National Assembly getting to debate it, the accused getting to defend themselves before members of this National Assembly, and thereafter a vote to be taken today. Yes, we'll be bringing you all this and a lot more throughout the day. After this, another panel will be in studio to continue this conversation. Do stand by for that. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your contribution to this debate. My name is Freddie Ndimuli. Have a lovely morning.